Hi, for this part of the videos, I'm going to show you how I deal with some of the proteins involved in sushi making. I'm going to start with the shrimp, and I'm going to keep everything, all the meat on separate plates, just so that it doesn't mix. Most of what I'm using today is actually going to be cooked, so it's less of a big deal. But anytime you're working with raw fish, you want to make sure your hands are clean and all the materials you're using are clean. The first protein I'm going to work with is this shrimp. I'll kind of show it to you, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do with it. So there's just 6 shrimp here. Any size shrimp will work well. These have already been peeled and deveined. And so that they work well, so that they're in a good shape for sushi, I like to use a toothpick before I cook them. And I just kind of flatten them out as much as possible, because otherwise when you cook shrimp, they curl up. And they're just a little bit easier to use in the sushi if they're flat. So I just kind of flattened it out like this, and it's on a little toothpick. And when I put it in the pan to cook it, it'll hopefully stay flat. The bigger the shrimp, the more, I guess, flat you can kind of get it. But this will still be better than if I just let these curl up into a little ball. So I'm just going to put the toothpick in each one. And this is 6 shrimp. This is gonna make 2 sushi rolls. So again, you don't need too much because we're gonna put other stuff in the other sushi rolls. So I'm just gonna do a couple of shrimp. That is my Instant Pot beeping in the background. That is telling me that technically my rice is done cooking. It's got to depressurize now and then sit for quite some time while it cools off, but it's technically done in there. All right, so that is 6 flattened shrimp on little toothpicks. I'm just gonna wash my hands. I'll stop this for a second. Okay, so I accidentally stopped that last video instead of pausing it. So this is kind of picking up where I left off with the shrimp. They are in this pan right here cooking, and they really only take a couple of minutes on each side. So they're turning nice and pink, and they're staying relatively flat. I'm going to show you here. This is what they look like. They're hot, but they did stay fairly flat, so they'll be a little easier to work with. I'm just going to put them on a plate here. And then going into the pan next is going to be a piece of salmon. You can eat salmon raw if it's sushi grade salmon. If you go out for sushi, you may have had it. Let's put the shrimp here. But this is just a piece of frozen salmon that I bought from the grocery store, and I want to make sure that it's seared, at least on the outside. So put it into the same pan that the shrimp cooked in. I really just want to sear this on both sides. It's okay if it's still a little bit raw in the middle, because the middle will be safe. Any bacteria that's on it will be on the outside. So grab a little plate. All right. All right, so I did a few things off the camera with the proteins just in the interest of saving some time. So you saw me do the shrimp, which are right here in this little plate. And you also saw me put this piece of salmon here into the pan and cook that very lightly on both sides, so it's still kind of raw in the center. And then off camera, I just opened the package of smoked salmon, which has kind of a raw look to it, and I put it on this plate. And then I also opened up and kind of peeled apart the fake crab. so that it's in kind of long strips. This is actually still a little frozen, so I'm hoping in these thin strips it will unthaw while I'm cutting everything else up. And then the last thing I have here on this plate, this is actually a combination of cream cheese. So I'm the only one in the house who likes cream cheese in my sushi, so I really just have one big piece here because I'm going to put it in one roll. And then the rest of this is cheddar cheese, which is a non-traditional sushi ingredient, but you really can put anything in a sushi roll. And we've been doing this for lots of years here at our house, and my kids have always liked cheese in their sushi rolls. So I have enough here for this cheddar cheese to go into 4 rolls. So that is the different protein that's going to go into the rolls. I'm going to put some of this in the fridge for now because it's fish while I make the sauces. So that'll be in the next video.